Charles McBee.
What's happening? What's happening?
Woo! I haven't seen you. I was trying to put together, like, how we first met. I don't know if it was laughs or punchline or
It might have been one of those, or it just might have been in some, back of a bar somewhere, performing for four people and drink tickets. Like it's a blur. After a certain point, it's a blur.
it really is. What year did you start stand up?
I started in '08. I remember because
Okay.
it was the year Obama got elected, and literally all you had to do was go on stage and go Obama, and everybody would just erupt in applause breaks, and then like 2 years in, you'd be like Obama, and it was crickets, and I was like, oh, okay, that's how comedy works.
Wow, that fast?
Yeah,
Dang.
well, it definitely wasn't the same pop you would get, when he first got elected. The new shine kind of wore off after a couple years.
That is kind of what's great about doing stand-up. It's sometimes you realize the things that get the biggest laughs aren't necessarily jokes per se, but
Yeah.
just like what if you can speak to whatever's going on or just making a keen observation, like you don't always really need a punchline, which is
Yeah,
cool.
which could be a crutch for a lot of a lot of comics rely on that, which is why we have terrible comedy specials now. It's just uh, people agreeing in the audience, going, "Yes, yes, I agree
When
with
did
everything."
you feel like the quality of comedy specials started to really go down?
Um, it might have been around the time that Seinfeld said he wasn't doing colleges, like that whole era where colleges started booting people out for saying jokes. And then a lot of people were, losing gigs and losing TV shows and stuff like that. And there's a whole argument on, is cancel culture real? Is it not? I just know for comedians specifically, we a lot of comedians, if they're not working on the road, they're trying to get TV gigs and trying to get opportunities on TV. And it used to be the rule was kill on the road or kill in real life, and then that's what would get you on TV. Now it doesn't matter if you kill in real life; it matters what you say
Hmm.
and the types of things you're talking about. That's what gets you on TV and stuff like that. So I started noticing a shift in that area around that time.
And it's so easy for me to be like, "Oh," because I am not what the mainstream wants, and I feel like I kind of found my own place,
Yeah,
but I do feel
pissing people off now.
without feeling like, sounding like sour grapes and salty about it, I felt like there was a turn where it went from just who's a talented performer who gets laughs versus it's almost like it became similar to acting where they're like, "We are casting roles," and you notice that trend kind of trickle down to even just produce shows in New York City. It's like, well, we
Yeah,
have our gay, we have our trans, we have our woman, we have our black guy, and
yeah,
not saying that those people weren't funny or that you couldn't have shows with, like, token whatever people
totally.
from whatever group. It just sucks that there's this feeling that well, you gotta have one of each, and then there were some
And
folks that would be like, "Well, I hate men, so no men on my show," or, "I hate white
yeah,
people, so no white people on my show."
yeah. And as a potential token on one of these shows, I'm always like, nah, book me because I'm a kill. Like book me because I'm a destroy and make it hard for anybody to follow me. And I'd much rather for that. I never want to be. I wouldn't want to be on filling in one of those spots. And I know other people who I've talked to, comedians I've talked to, black, Asian, whatever, like the ones I actually am fans of their work, they feel the same way. It's like book me because I'm one of the funniest to do it, not because you're trying to fill some quota. But it's like that. I noticed that too when I started doing showcases, which is why I hate showcases now, and I really don't do them. Is because the audience, like the people behind the scenes, the people who are going to book you on these TV shows and give you these gatekeepers, you would start to notice once you would see the gatekeepers, you would go, oh, these gatekeepers look a lot like the people that are getting booked for these opportunities. So like they're just
Wow.
booking themselves and
Who they
their
want their
sensibility. Yeah.
type,
Yeah.
basically. That was a
it's
huge thing for me too. Like, you're doing comedy a few years, and, like, for people who don't know what showcases are, like, a legit club, like, you can do comedy at a bar, at a club, a random back patio, but these showcases usually happen at, like, the legit clubs, and right, you do a couple of them over the years, and you start seeing, like, "Oh, well, you're gonna be watched by." I don't know. I mean, I've never done a Montreal audition, but it's like, "Oh, you're gonna be," if it is that, "you're gonna be watched by Jeff Singer," or I know Rebecca Trent was doing it for a few years or whatever, and then you learn, "Oh, this is, the Fallon or the Colbert person is gonna be the audience." What was it? Jessica Pilot was booking that for a while. "Oh, she's gonna," and then you get on edge. You're like, "Oh, who's gonna be watching?" And then over the years, you know who these gatekeepers are, and then you see some people like, kind of just, all right, either kissing up to them or just it's like a natural reaction. You want to be in
yeah,
their good graces
right,
because that's the only way up is through this, okay, this pipeline of late night show, Comedy Central special. And it's just like what you said, combination of like do as well as you can on the road, try to make the bulk of your living there, and then impress people with your city spots, and then that's how
right.
you get whisked up into TV. And
Yeah,
for
it's
some, it doesn't it doesn't, and even if you try to follow that exact path, it's unless you are what they want, which I think around like the 2010s, there started to be like, okay, we're really looking for types because of I think the quotas that I think, and that's the thing is I talk about this shit all the time. People go, "Oh, you're just salty because you didn't make it or you didn't get picked to do these late night
yeah, yeah,
spots." But, it's like I definitely tried for a while before I had kind of my own whatever political awakening, whatever you wanna call it. Just and then you do kinda have, like, a comedy awakening where you're like, "Oh, you could be so good, but if you're not the type they want, it doesn't matter how hard you try," and then you kinda have to maybe make the decision to break off or like, okay,
yeah,
these goals have to become less important to you because you'll make yourself nuts. You either have to like take a break and try to make a living or take a break, start a podcast. Everybody's process is so different and there's no like one way to make it in
exactly.
comedy.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, even Chris Rock talked about that. That's how he ended up doing Bring the Pain, was because he finally came to the realization that he wasn't going to get any of the token things that all his friends were getting, the late night, the Johnny Carsons back then, or even he was on SNL for like a couple seasons but didn't pop, and then he just wasn't
Wow.
getting anything else. And then finally he was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna if that's the case, if I'm gonna stop trying to do these commercial things, I'm just do literally whatever the hell I want to do. And that's what gave him the creative freedom to just start saying wild heinous shit, and that's how we got the Chris Rock that we know now. So, but even now, I mean, you see the Andrew Schultzes, you see like everybody else, like people really taking their career into their own hands and just doing their own thing is kind of the wave now, and the industry is starting to really bend to that now because they can't just dangle a special in front of us. Like, I'll
They
create.
love to dangle. I feel like I spent years trying to get into the good graces of, like, obese brunette chicks with dark frame glasses looking. I feel like I spent years doing that. But
Nope.
that's what's great about social media. You can take that's a laugh of someone who knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh, Lord.
That's a, like, but people get power hungry. They get comedy is such a niche group. It's like, and you see it with over and over again. Like the people who are in charge of giving out the specials, giving out the late night spots, like they think they're hot fucking shit. And it's great to just be able to like go around all that. Charles, did you ever get like any of the late night stuff? You probably had more like sort of mainstream success than I did.
I got late night adjacent. I was courted for a couple shows, and then all of a sudden I got ghosted out of nowhere. It
I've
was
heard that. I've heard that specifically about Colbert. Like, I think Dave Landau was telling me he was sort of being courted by them, and it was all this back and forth, the shifting of his set and stuff, and then they were giving him such a runaround. He was like, "Yeah, I'm out."
it's very it's a very strange process of just, and when no one tells you, kind of that's what it is. You take everything very personally because you think it's only happening to you. So you're just like, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve being treated like this? But then you realize, oh, that's just what it is. Like this business is just sometimes it's a cold, soulless business, and you gotta like just kind of have your own life, your own stuff, and know that none of this stuff is personal because it's wild. But I actually take I'm actually very proud of the fact that I have garnered any success that I've had without having to do the, you know, checking off the boxes of what everyone else has to do. Not that I wouldn't
Yeah.
be happy to do a late night or whatever, but the fact that I'm able to say like, no, I've never been on a list. I've never done any late
The
night.
lists, and
Yeah,
then you realize the lists are generated by management. It's not people out there like, "Let me find a talented person performing at a hole in the wall and
yeah,
uplift them." It's like, no, it's like these lists are whoever's managing whatever 10 comics at William Morris or like whatever the top agencies are. It's like they put through their people, and that's who the articles are written about.
that's
And it
it. Yeah.
takes you
It
years to be like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, and it doesn't take away, I'm not taking away credit from people who are on the list because there's definitely people who are on there who I'm like, oh yeah, they're funny as shit. But there's
Definitely.
also people who are like, what? Wait, what? And you're like, you kind of see the bigger picture. And God bless them if you make a list or you make a this or that or a showcase or whatever. Do your thing. 'Cause I'm never hating on anybody's success, but at the same time,
Right.
you have to realize that it's not. It doesn't speak to you if you didn't make that list. It doesn't speak to your talent or to who you are as an artist or as a comedian if you don't make the showcase or the list. It really doesn't matter at all.
It's a good thing to let go of
Yeah,
because, like, you kinda let go of, like, shame because you start going, "Oh, I've been in it this many years, and I didn't
right.
reach this, or this," and then on the flip side, you see people who have been, like, on the comics to watch list for, like, 5 years. It's like, "We've been watching this person for years, nothing's been happening, we're all watching them."
They have a
Can't do
very old
anything.
face. This is a new face. What,
Yeah,
what's going
a
on?
lot of old faces on the new
Old
faces.
faces. Yeah.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.